oh man, this is gonna be such a great show because I've been such a fan for a very long time of this woman. What can I say about this first project I heard? It was literally life changing. Some of you might not know what I'm talking about, and some of you might be glued to your screen because you know exactly what I'm talking about. I want everybody to give a warm welcome when you at home in your seats. Just start clapping for a great artistic soul, Reese in the building. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty
So,
good.
so here's the trippy thing. When I found out I can interview you,
Okay.
I like to do my research. You know, I want to know things because I want to have an interesting conversation and not just ask the same old bullshit questions
Right.
that everybody get asked. And one thing I noticed was, personally, I couldn't find much of nothing on you. Like the internet is not full of Reese tea,
Oh, right.
right? You know,
Yeah.
so whenever I see that, I put him in the mindset of Prince because his business was not in the streets.
Right.
So can't ask Prince. I get to ask somebody who's actually done it. You've been in the public eye for so long. How did you just keep your business out the streets, your personal life?
I think it's the person that I'm dealing with at the time, you know? Because I run my mouth, like I talk, you know? But I feel like as far as like my personal relationships, I think I don't know if people are even interested. I wouldn't, you know, I don't know why they would be interested or why they wouldn't be interested, but and also I think that the partners that I'm with, I think that's why. Like maybe if I was with someone that I don't know was, you know, like Kanye West or something, you know, someone that
Then you just can't help.
then
but to
you
be
can't
seen.
help it be seen, but you very much can help to be seen.
Right, but and like in light of like Prince, he was a megastar
Yeah, he was a megastar.
from day one, and you just never really heard much about anybody he was dealing with, or even outside of relationships, just stuff that was going on in his
Oh,
life.
right.
You just don't hear about nothing. And especially today's day and age, you got the internet going crazy. Like you can't sneeze without the whole world knowing.
Right.
But you have from 2001 till now, just
Good.
outside of the little bit of controversy,
Right.
outside of that, nothing. So I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking, and I'm like, wow, you like, it's like Barack Obama. You couldn't find nothing.
There's nothing. I'm not that bad, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, but what is out there is your career,
Yeah.
your achievements. And I'm like, damn, that's really cool because some people's legacy is their controversy,
Right.
while yours is what you did musically,
Thank you.
you know, and I think that's really dope. So I'm going to take you back to 2001. Had no idea who Reese was.
Me either.
Really? Wow. Had no idea. I was a regular hood dude like everybody else, making hood music or whatever. And a friend of mine by the name of Erica, she comes over and she brings all of these CDs over. And she brought Black Sabbath. She brought Estero, Breath from Another, some Portishead. And I can't remember. She brought a whole box, but in this box was Reese, How I Do. And so she's like, listen to this stuff. So we're sitting there, we're listening, and the first song she played me was doom, 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 doom.
Yeah, Golden Boy. That's the first song on the album.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? I never heard nothing that sounded like that. And then we hear Ice Kings, and I'm a big fan of aggressive drums. So, you know, it's your song, you know how it goes. So it's no drums for a while. When drums kicked in, I'm losing my mind in this house.
Nice.
So we go through the whole album, and I'm like, I don't know how to make music because I just heard, what am I doing right now? it literally reshaped my whole thought process on music. And then she played me Estero's album.
Right. And they were produced by the same person.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
She didn't tell me that part. I didn't read the liner notes or nothing. That album, I was like,
yeah.
And I said, what genre is this?
Right.
And she was like, I don't know. And I was like, how can that even be? And the more I researched, I found out Doc produced both of the albums.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, you have this woman in Philly, and Estero's from California, right?
No, she's from Canada.
Oh, she's from Canada too?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so is Doc. I think that's how they may have met or something. I don't know.
Okay, so you got Canada, and Doc's not from Toronto, is he?
No, he's from Minnesota, but he lived a lot of time, like spent a lot of time in Toronto and like moved there, I guess.
So that's crazy. So you got this Canadian singer, a singer in Philly, and this guy from Minnesota. That's where Prince is from, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did all of y'all even come together? I mean, I know you and Estero didn't do an album.
Yeah, we never.
Whatever, but how did that roadmap even happen?
I think Estero was signed to Sony Work Group. It's like a label under Sony. And then that's how I first heard the album because I was trying to get signed to Sony, and, you know, they just give you CDs or something, you know, and Santa Gold had the CD. It was like, oh, let's listen to it. And I was blown away. And then Santi was like, yeah, let's get this guy to do the album. And I was like, cool, I like what he's done.
Wow.
And that was literally it, you know.
So other than Estero's album, did you hear other projects?
I didn't hear anything he's ever done before, just that one project.
Just that one project you said, let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Wow.
We've, you know, worked out the deal and went to the studio, and he brought a couple of his friends from Toronto.
Okay.
Or that were, at least they were living in Toronto at the time, you know. And we just made an album. We just made it. Kobe James and this guy named Fingers, and you know, they came to New York with Doc, and I had Santi with me, and we holed up in the studio and, you know, wrote songs and tried to figure it out.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that you was ready to trash the first 6 songs.
Yeah, we got to a point where we were like,
it's like done, like no.
We're like, because we were feeling like, I was feeling like, I don't know what this is. I don't know, because it didn't sound like anything else that was out,
right?
You know, and I just felt like unsure about it because there was not there was no reference point for what we were doing. It wasn't like it wasn't like I was, you know, Brandy and talking about, oh yeah, I'm gonna do an album like Whitney, you know, or like Keisha Cole, and like I'm gonna do an album and we're gonna market it like Mary J. Blige. There was no like other person. It was like Deion Ferris. No. This you know, it was like, what is it? You know? So
what is it?
When we made the first 4 or 5 songs, I was like, this is trash. I don't even know about this. And we were like, you know, Doc, he's kind of crazy. So he's a very intense, you know, producer. And so his confidence level at that time, I don't know how he is now because I don't know him now, but his confidence level at the time, like, would sway. Like, it would go from like, this is horrible to this is amazing. This is horrible, you know? So I guess I caught him on the this is horrible day, and he was like believing what I was saying, like, what are we doing, you know? And then that day is when we wrote Ice King. Ice King was already actually like written. It was already written, but it was written for a guy to sing. And so then I was like, okay, well, can I change these lyrics? So we changed the lyrics around, and I changed some lyrics around, and but the core of that song, you know, lyrically, like the, not lyrically, but like the melodies and stuff like that. Some of the melodies, like the chorus melody, that was already there. Wow. That was already done. Like Kobe James already wrote that. Oh. And so they had to just they had to make the music. They were like, what about this song we wrote? And it was like, oh, I like the chorus, but we need different verses.
So you also said, I'm like quoting some interviews you had did, but whenever somebody brought something that sounded like what was out.
Oh yeah, we were like, that's trash.
So out of those tracks that y'all trashed because it was the norm, did you end up later on hearing those tracks on somebody else's song?
No.
They really just literally got trashed.
Yeah, like we would do like 3 to 4 versions of each song, like because we'd be like, okay, because if you have a great song, you can change the music around
Yeah.
it to be anything. Like Happy Birthday is a great song, right? You can sing it, you can rap it, you can sing it like country, you can sing it, you know what I mean? And the instrumentation around it can be whatever, because the chords that support the melody are great. And that's kind of what the concept was when we were making How I Do. We were like, you know, as long as the song is great, it doesn't, like what the landscape around it is, that's what we're going to decide.
So it's other versions.
Yeah, there's like other
Golden Boys.
Yeah, like they may not be, they don't sound the same, or they don't have all the same elements, or it was like the thing that got us to the end result, or, you know, or just a completely different beat. But yeah.
I actually learned, I used to, if a song didn't hit to me that I made, I would just toss it to the side. And it wasn't until I heard Royce 5'9" talking about when he wrote a song for Diddy, and Diddy didn't like it at first, and he made him write it again.
Yeah, you can just always, rewrite it.
Again, and then he ended up taking pieces of all of them, and that ended up being the song, the one on the album. And it made me think, like, you can revisit your own piece.
You can redo it.
Yeah, before I wouldn't do it, and now it's to the point I'll go on the hard drive and I'll pull up something old.
The
new inspiration will come.
Yeah, that's a lot of what my partner Steve McKee does.
But y'all did that in real time, like.
Yeah, we'd be like, okay, so let's try. Let's do. What's the other way to approach it?
Wow.
Let's do it like this. Let's do it like. Let's make the drums feel like this. Okay, so now you're gonna sing it like. You know, maybe the melody that I was singing didn't really have to change, but a little bit. But the music around it, yeah, they definitely like went in. Like,
so y'all were like very like perfectionists.
I wouldn't say I'm not a perfectionist, but I think it would be more like we just wanna. We know once you have a great song, you can make the song any kind of song. Are we doing a country song here? Are we doing this song? Are we doing a reggae song? Are we? You know what I mean? What are we doing? And so we just explored that because we had, quite frankly, we had the time, the space, and the resources to do it. Yeah. You know? So we were on a major label.
Your era, I call the last of how it should have been, how it should be, where you had artist development, you had media training. They actually grabbed artists that they believed in and put
developed them.
Where now it's just like, how many views you got? We gonna sign you. Do you got beef in the hood with somebody? Y'all real gangsters? We're definitely gonna sign you.
And where's your fan base?
Where's your fan base?
And who is your fan base?
How do you look at it, being that you came from the era where you were signed off of your talent and who you were, to now it's just not that at all? How do you look at the industry?
I'm kind of confused about it because just because of what you said. It's like sometimes I feel like a dinosaur. I'm like, oof, because the things that people do now, like I would never imagine that's what we would have to do at this point. And you can sing your ass off. It's like it to me, it got to a point where like, and I'm not knocking anybody, like, you know, as far as if you want to dress sexy and you want to do this, like I like dressing sexy too sometimes. And sometimes I like dressing like a tomboy, and sometimes I like dressing in between. And you know what I mean? But when there was an error, like there's a not small error, but it's probably still happening now, where it felt like, you know, be a stripper that happens to sing. You know what I mean? Like kind of present yourself in a way of like that. And you can sing, then it's like, that's what an artist is right now.
Right.
You know, and it's like, you know, people wearing bras and underwear on stage. It's like, dang, you know, like I don't come from that era. So for me, it's like, it feels kind of like that's what I have to compete with. How do I compete with that?
Yeah, I mean, you can even say back then, because I believe, and I hope I'm not wrong by saying, but I think Eve was a stripper at first.
Oh yeah, but
right,
you know, but she wasn't. That wasn't her marketing plan.
That's what I'm saying. Even
that was her life, like
even though that's what she did for a living, it didn't pour
overtake.
over
Yeah.
into her music career, and now that's her persona. Like she's
Yeah,
a
and
very
who she
respected-
is.
Exactly.
And even right now, like she's on top.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, girl.
Yeah, now it's like if you don't have those qualities of a
Yeah.
stripper, it's like they don't want to see. And you actually, it's really funny you brought that up because I found an interview you did 9 years ago. And I'm going to show you what you said.
Uh-oh.
No, it's not a uh-oh.
I care about other things, and I want to represent a certain type of Black woman.
Right.
Especially in this era of, you know, all the horrible Basketball Live TV shows and all that kind of stuff, you know, with even the way certain people that are musicians act when they're doing television, especially Black women, it's like we're kind of like not really looking great,
right.
Anymore. And like there's still some of us that want to shine and want to be, want the bad bitch era to be out of here.
Right.
Going back to like, I got some goddamn sense and I'm talented and that's why you're listening. Not because, I've injected something in my ass to look like an animal.
Yeah.
Or a fetish, so I'm kind of like, okay, I think I want to strip things away and kind of just get back to the essence of, a dignified woman.
Right.
And kind of put that out there that happens to sing.
That was 9 years ago.
Oh, and it got worse. It got way worse. Basketball Wives is like, well, they got way worse too, though. Like, they just fight. It's just like, now we have baddies and...
It's 9 years ago. I'm watching this interview, and I thought to myself that I have not realized that it has been, at the very least, 9 years of that going on.
Right.
It is in the total forefront now. So you got artists like Janelle Monáe back in the day, and she was completely covered all of the time. And she would speak about not having to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then when you look at what she's doing now, at face value, it's the opposite.
Yeah, at face value.
At face value. Now, when she talks, she eloquently
explains why
she does what she does. So I know at some point there was a shift change in how she felt about
what she's presenting.
So my question is, from 9 years ago, has your opinion changed at all? And if so, what's the reason?
It has a little bit, as far as, I'm not going to lie, like, that was 9 years ago and it's like quadrupled, right?
Yeah.
Like the importance of the visual and that particular visual, it's almost like just exploded, like having that aesthetic of a stripper. Now we like twerk and it's twerk videos and like you got the Coil Rays, she, whether you like her music or not, it's like, it's kind of like that is like her thing, and she works hard, super talented.
Yeah, she's talented.
Yeah, super talented, works hard and has that along with it, but it's like now I feel like, yeah, I definitely should show up more of my sexier side and things like that, only because it literally equates to the likes that you get. It's like business. It's like, for me, it's business. It's like, if I'm doing anything to be more physically appealing in any way, it's for business. Like, I have makeup on today.
Right.
That you can probably see more than like they can or whatever, like on screen. But like, I have makeup on and whatever, and that's because I'm at work. When you pick me up, from the airport or whatever, like, you're not going to see me with makeup on.
Right.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So in general, like, I'm a tomboy. So anytime you see me dressed up, it's usually it's for work. Yeah. Okay. Or because I just feel like dressing super girly or something like that. But that's not, it's for work. Like, if, that's the only reason. But I think, as far as, I feel the same way. I feel like, yeah, like, God, we still need women out there that sound good and sing, and we do have some, you know.
They're not being highlighted though.
Yeah, they're not as much, you
Not
know.
as much.
Yeah, because we all know sex sells, and you know, and not only that, but men like run the world, kind of. I mean, they say women run the world. It's a man, you know, whatever. But really, you know, in the music industry, it's mostly men that are at the top. It's mostly men
Absolutely.
that you have to please, and you have to aesthetically please. You know, it's not necessarily any women, you know, there.
The music industry has always been male dominated.
Yeah, and that part's
most
never going to
industries
change. Yeah, that's never going to change. So
And as a guy, so I don't know. I was a cosmetologist at one point. So being a cosmetologist is like 10% hair, 90% therapy.
that's actually one job. There's like a handful of jobs that are not male-dominated industries, and I think
Yeah.
cosmetology is one, nursing is another, and home care.
Right. Yeah, I was definitely a minority in that field, but I would listen to the women talk because it seemed like that
It's
was
therapy,
a
like
safe
you said.
space.
Yeah.
You know, and so because of that, I look at things dealing with women a little differently.
Right.
Of course, I can't put myself in your shoes,
But you've heard it.
but I've heard a lot, and now it makes me look at things differently. You know, so one, you're in a male-dominated field in an era where a lot of, I'm gonna say it, fuck shit was going on.
And it's still going on.
It's still going on. And once again, there's nothing said about you in any horrible light or nothing out there. How was you able to navigate in that industry? You didn't have a bad contract, right? With MCA?
I guess I don't think I had a bad contract.
Right. So you didn't get a crappy deal. How did you navigate through all that unscathed from the usual BS?
Well, I don't think I'm unscathed from the usual BS, though.
Okay.
Because I just think the usual BS is a lot more than what people think it is. You know what I mean? Like, we only talk about maybe the same 5 things or something for the BS of the music industry. But I feel like, you know, whether I had a good or bad contract, there's still things in it I didn't like, you know? Like, but, you know, I knew what I signed, and I had a lawyer, and he explained it to me, and I had a great manager at the time, and he, you know, pretty much kind of cleared the path for me. So, like, I had a man, like, going through the door before me, you know, a black man, you know what I mean? And so I think that's what kind of saved me from the usual 5 things that people think, you know?
What are the usual 5?
Just like
Sex scandal, bad record deal, manager stealing from
you, you know, like the stuff that you see on the behind the musics, you know, the drug abuse.
Yeah, drug abuse.
You know what I'm saying? Like the substance abuse, stuff like that.
That is other stuff beyond that people don't talk about.
Yeah.
Like
having to, you know, make a choice of how you want to show up to work, you know. There's some people want you to show up to work like you're doing a show. Like, they want you dolled up. You're like, okay, producer.
Like full beating off.
Yeah, they want you like, come, you know, because they feel like, oh, when you're dressed up and you're in your outfit, then you're being more of yourself. And then there's some times which I think that should be the choice of the person working, you know? And it always is your choice. You just decide whether you're going with the flow or you're not going with the flow. You know, the amount of meetings that you go on dolled up just to sit in some man's face to pretty much have him just like look at you and see that, I mean, they're talking to you, but you're like, why can't this be a phoner?
So it's just constant.
You know, you're just constantly,
patriarchy.
Yeah, you're like going to meetings and, you know, you're trying to convince people to get on the team and to work with you and to, you know.
Wait a minute.
All that kind of stuff.
So you got the record deal.
Yeah, but you still
have to convince people to put effort into the project.
Yeah, because there's other people that you need besides the label, record company. You know, you need a booking agent that you need a PR person. Well, you got your PR person usually from the label, or at least back then you did. But you know, it's just other things like, you know, like a talent agent, for example. You know, that's someone that you need, but you don't automatically just get it.
Gotcha.
So you have to like go to a talent agent and say, hey, this is who I am. I signed to this label. I'm doing this. You know, this is who I am. And, you know, it's just like going on an interview. It's like you're going on interviews almost.
Constant.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're always networking because you never know what opportunities somebody may have, and you may walk out of their office door and then the opportunity that could be amazing for you can walk right in right after, and you're the next thing that you're the very thing on this man's mind.
Wow.
So, why don't we give it to this girl? She just, to get it,
When you got signed, it was like somebody discovered you, or somebody you knew just brought you in?
Yeah, like somebody I knew pretty much brought me in. We started writing songs together, and they had an in at Sony, and
Gotcha.
they got me like a demo deal, and which basically is money to make more songs. And then I made more songs, and then I got to keep those songs, and then those songs are songs that I shopped to other labels. And when I shopped those songs to other labels, that's when I got a deal.
Wow.
I had like a couple labels like, wanting me at the same time.
Wow.
And I went with the one that
things don't work like that no more. Not no more. You have to already have something established, which makes
not more than something. You have to have like your fan base.
Yeah, which makes me wonder, like, you have your fan base, why are you signing? It doesn't make sense. But I'm starting to see a different light because
you have your fan base. Your fan base may not be paying for it as everything. You know what I mean? Like you a fan base, you still have to make. It's an exorbitant amount of money to do the music industry right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people really understand. Like everyone's like, oh, it's easy to be in the industry. I mean, you have the internet. Like you can release your stuff, but it doesn't.
No, that don't make it easy. It actually makes it harder.
It kind of makes it
what I call
interesting.
I call it the funnel effect. So once everybody catch wind that somebody got successful this way, everybody runs in that direction. But it's just it's a very small way to get through. Yeah. But you got all of these people funneling to it.
Right.
And usually when the funnel happens, you got some marbles that's going to get through.
Right.
But once you get crowded, they get stuck.
Right.
And nobody gets through anymore.
Right.
So that's what happened with 50 Cent with mixtapes. 50 Cent said, this is how I did it. And then everybody was doing mixtapes to the point that mixtapes turned into an industry.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that 50 Cent invented the mixtape.
Right.
But it turned to an industry where people were making millions of dollars. And I mean, I've had a bunch of mixtapes.
Yeah, then like Nicki Minaj, she did.
That's the way.
Yeah, that's that for rap, yeah.
But it's only a few that actually got quote unquote on because of.
Right.
So I just think that now it's the whole, you have to have some kind of controversy or you have to already have a fan base. The people that I know that already got a fan base, they got super fans, so they're making money.
Right.
It doesn't make sense to me if you got super fans and you still go get a deal in today's day and age of streaming.
Yeah, it makes sense to me because you don't really make a lot of money streaming.
Right.
So you're going to need, like, super fans, you meaning like people who really like your music, or super fans meaning you got a lot of them?
Super fans, like people that really spend money on your music. Like, it's just an artist.
Like, I don't know.
It's an artist. I can't remember his name. And these kind of artists are few and far between. Let me say that first and foremost. I can't remember his name. I'm going to look him up. But he puts out music. He doesn't put it in streaming services. And he sell albums for like $1,000, $5,000.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that guy, I think.
Yeah. And then like Nipsey Hussle, he put out the album. I think it was either going for $100 a piece or
$1,000. I think it was like
something like that.
10,000.
Jay-Z bought like 10 of them.
Yeah.
These are people, in my eyes, because I don't know their process, just what it seems like to me, these are people that just constantly push quality to what they felt their core audience was and captured them with what they was doing. Or like the La Russell guy, you heard of him? Mm-mm. It's a young rapper from the Bay Area, and he started doing concerts. He made his backyard a concert.
Yeah, I did hear about that guy.
Yeah, so this guy, he's traveling.
During the pandemic, yeah.
Yeah, he's traveling. He's making a lot of money. Rock Nation came towards him, and he was like, man, these numbers ain't right. Push that to the side, and I think he's signing now. And for me, I don't understand it because you're making a lot of money on your own.
Well, that's what you think, but he's probably making a lot of money, but he's also probably spending a lot of money. And he's probably spending a lot of money because he's trying to make a lot of money. So, and you just don't know how much money he really got.
Right.
Because I don't think people really understand, again, how much it costs to have a publicist, like a good
Like
publicist.
$10,000 a month.
Like 3 to 10, like
gave me 10 a month.
Yeah, it depends on who you go to.
Yeah.
So like these are numbers that like and you got to consider what else are these people doing to supply their own income for like their livelihood.
Yeah.
You know, like
true.
So, you know,
They still got rent to pay.
Yeah. So it's like they also probably still have another job to do that they're doing too.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know. To you it may not make sense. To me it does. It's a lot of work. Like right now, to be independent, you're basically saying that you're going to become an artist, take the time to be a good artist or, you know, to be an artist, take the time to do the work, find the people to do the music with, pay them or not pay them if you don't have to, I guess, because if they're like your friends or something.
Yeah.
But also you're beyond the complete team. You're you're the product. You're the marketing team, you're the graphic designer, you're the machine that works it.
Yeah.
And you have to build the store online to sell it.
Exactly.
And then you have to go promote it. And then you have to do the accounting for it. Imagine making a sneaker and then advertising the sneaker, shooting the commercial for the sneaker, paying for it to be on television, the commercial. And then all the stores that sell sneakers, like the physical stores,
You're dropping them off.
they're gone. There's not many left.
Yeah.
And so you got to now build your store online to sell your sneaker. Like, that's like 60 jobs.
It is.
And I don't know who can do 60 things.
So I can honestly say that
It takes a team.
I've done that all by myself for other artists, and I don't recommend it.
Yeah, you did it for another artist, meaning that artist did not do it.
Right. I did it for myself as well.
Oh, and you did it for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and
that's a lot.
I had a group of artists, and I was working on everybody's album and mine. I was helping writing, I was producing, mixing, mastering. I was doing the graphic designs. I wasn't doing filming the videos. I was directing the videos. I did the marketing. I had a printing company, so all of the print work that had to get done, I did that. We pressed the CDs up. Like, it was everything. It took so long.
Did you make a lot of money?
No. I lost.
But you're assuming all these other people are. And that's why he should not be, you know what I mean? Like, why,
I guess the assumption.
Like Russell, like,
I guess
it's probably just too much for him to handle.
I guess the assumption comes from seeing he was able to accomplish way more than me.
Oh, okay.
You know.
But you gotta understand, we were all at a pandemic, sitting at home. People were getting PUA checks and had nothing to do. People had their bills paid and didn't have anything to do.
Yeah.
And that's a recipe that's like one in a million, like,
Yeah, I mean, and talent-wise,
of course.
He's definitely one of those different ones.
Yeah, no, talent-wise, I know who you're talking about. Like, I get it, but the talent part doesn't pay for all those other things that you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't even talk about talent. Because it doesn't pay for, the talent isn't actually paying for the people to show up, the lights, the phone bill, the cameras, the paper, the ink, the time. It doesn't pay for that. So it's like, yeah, you're going to sign a deal. And because when you sign a deal, you get a team.
And you get to
work
on your craft, what you really want to do, which is the music.
If that's what you really want to do.
If that's what you want to do. Yeah.
Russell, does he really want to be the booker now? No, you want to hire somebody.
Yeah, I can say, even for myself, I was just talking to somebody. There's a label that I fancy. I like this label. It's called Mellow Music.
Okay.
Joel Ortiz is on there.
Okay.
This guy named Paradigm just dropped the album. Odyssey is on there. Homeboy Sandman. Like, all of these acts are are acts that are about their art.
Yeah, established.
And this label is just about that. It reminds me of Raucous,
Oh, nice.
you know, but just on a more soulful and not just boom bap.
Right.
And so I was telling somebody like, yeah, I would really love to put out a project on this label. And people in the city that know me here, they're like, why would you ever get on the label? I said, man, I'm tired of doing it all myself.
Yeah.
And you do it all yourself, and it's very hard to get past a certain threshold.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody I know that I admire that's doing independent stuff had that kind of power boost. You know, they might have been on a bigger indie label or a major label and got off of it, and then now they're just they got different deals. Like, okay, we got this company in Japan that's putting out this yada 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 yada. So I definitely can understand like your step into this was with a machine.
Yeah.
So to go without the machine, you see all the components that's missing.
Yeah, I see all this. I'm like, oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that many people working for me on a daily basis.
So does that make you understand why the label takes so much of the money, the revenue that comes in?
No, but I understand why they feel they own the person's music. First of all, I feel like they have the right to own your music if you sign that piece of paper giving them that right.
Right.
That's number one.
Right.
Number two, I feel like they deserve very much so to get what they put back in.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just like if I say, I'm going to give you the paint, I'm going to give you the brush,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you the space, the studio, I'm going to have the lights on for you, I'm going to give you the food that day to eat, I'm going to give you everything that you need to make a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pay you to make the masterpiece. I understand why they say, and I own that masterpiece. I understand why even after 30, 40, 50 years, they will still be like, yeah, I own it. Because one, you signed that piece of paper, and two, that's what you agreed to, and three, they paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
In any other world, if I pay for everything in this, John, and you come and work at it, but I set it all up, you don't own the whole shebang.
Right.
I paid for it.
Yeah, I definitely say a lot of these artists that say they got robbed by labels, a lot of them didn't.
Yeah, I mean, they got robbed. They said it was okay for them to get robbed.
Yeah,
they gave the permission.
Like,
but they just are mad.
Somebody waves 100,000, 300,000 in front of you and say sign, and you just grab the pen and sign. You didn't take that contract to a lawyer and say, oh my God, this is a 7-album deal with 5 options with no expiration date.
Yeah.
You're not paying attention to that, and you just sign.
Off the strength of your boy, or just, that's on you.
Is the label wrong for giving you that kind of contract? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you don't have to sign it. But most do, and then they get so mad and they go on social media and say, these people are doing this to me, and it's like, you did it to yourself.
Yeah. Not saying, but there are some situations, like I think, where people are, they like their homies do kind of trick them, or they say, oh no, I got this, or they just they don't know, they're not educated enough to know they need a lawyer. They're just doing it, they're just signing like, oh my boy,
Well, don't you think in today's day and age we done heard the TLC story enough times?
Yeah, but who hasn't heard the TLC story? Like the 16-year-old kid that's about to get signed. Like right now.
Right.
That's sitting in
TLC is.
No.
Which is crazy.
16-year-old ain't watching Behind the Musics. The kids, they sign these deals, like he don't know who TLC is.
Yeah.
He's not watching Behind the Music to even know. And sometimes people take advantage of musicians and they take advantage of artists, and off of like, oh, I'm your big brother.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
I got you. Like, it's cool. Sign it. It's cool. I didn't think they were doing them people like that over in Gaza in 2020. Nothing.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't really know it was like that for them in 2020 anything.
And it's been like that.
And it's been like that. Yeah. So it's like, I just would never fathom that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's something that I felt like you dealt with years ago. You don't deal with that now. Everyone knows that's wrong, like that, you know, what's right and what's wrong. So,
Still going on.
but it's still going on. So, you know, but I didn't per se know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's what you look for, what's in your
Yeah, I
career
remember
field, like what's going on.
I've had deals on the table maybe about twice. I had one where they was like, "Yeah, we're signing you," and then 5 minutes later it was done, like no more. But the actual contract I had in front of me, they gave it to me. It was 7 albums, and I believe it was 7 options. They didn't want to recoup though, but it was no advance.
Yeah, see.
And I'm like, no recoup
How am I
is
supposed
great.
to? So how am I supposed to work and like I'm supposed to make this album and not have any and have to work another job to pay my
Exactly.
livelihood? That don't make no sense.
Exactly. And I'm stuck with you until forever.
Yeah.
Pretty much. You got 7 options. You know, for those who don't know, an option
It's
is
an album contract.
when your contract is up, they have the option to pretty much keep you signed for another project. And there is no particular date for
When it starts.
when it ends. So if you got 7 options after 7 albums, it's not 7 albums like 7 years. It's whenever they decide that them 7 albums is done. Like LL Cool J had a 10 album deal, and it took so long to
Yeah,
finish
because
that.
you could do an album and they say we don't like it.
Exactly.
Redo it. Do a whole nother one.
Exactly.
And you're just like, what?
And you're just stuck. So thank God that I was smart enough to when I did have a lawyer, I knew I didn't have enough money to keep paying her to read contracts. So I paid her to teach me how to read the contracts.
Right.
So it turned into me just calling her and saying, "Hey, don't this say this?" And she'll say, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, well, no,
Right.
I'm straight." But for a lot of artists, if they had that kind of smarts like me, they end up with no deal. So do you think that they're purposely signing it because they think that's the only opportunity that they have?
Some people probably, I'm sure, you know. I feel like sometimes they yeah, you're tired of being independent. You think that's a stepping stone. You know, it's something to get excited for, something to post, it's something to show off. It's something to show that I have something that, you know, it makes me feel better that someone's investing in me. It makes me feel validated that someone else wants to put money into my pot to help my flow, you know, or that I'm good enough. Sometimes it's people's validation.
I don't know if you know it or not. There is an era, and it has to do with 3 albums. How I Do, Breath from Another, and In Search Of, NERD. In Detroit, and it's really funny because 2001 is when In Search Of and How Do I come out. Breath from Another, I think, was 98, somewhere around there. These are albums that came out then. But I can tell you when I started doing like hip hop rock type stuff, this was like 2009, 2010, 11, 12, 13. All of those albums were very prevalent here. Like those were the Bible of expressing yourself how you want to express yourself. And we're talking these albums are 10 years old at the
that
time. You know, they're will be considered old school, but it was so fresh and so new to the point I posted that I was interviewing you. And the music scene that was around then, they're all like, "Oh my God."
Hopefully they come tonight to the show.
They really need to come to the show because like you have so many diehard fans here. Like I had to call my friend when you went in the hotel. I was like, "Guess what I got in the car?" She was like, "No way." And then she started to tell me about stuff that I didn't even know. Like it was a movie that you did a cover on.
Yeah, Made in Manhattan.
Made in Manhattan. And so when she's telling me about this, it made me really wonder what everybody has a music library in their head, a whole encyclopedia of stuff that they love, that they pull from. And you did a remake for a Jefferson Starship song,
Yeah.
and I listen to your music, and some songs I get, as far as the writing is concerned, like an alt rock feel.
Mm-hmm.
But you're from Philly in an era where neo soul was like, it was the mecca.
It's the beginning of it.
The beginning of it. But you're so far away from that, and the song you covered was from 1975.
Yeah.
So, how far does your brain go in music?
Oh my gosh. I don't even, I feel like I'm about to ruin your whole thing because I grew up in the suburbs of Philly.
Okay.
And so I wasn't really like in the mix with all the people, you know, like I knew all those guys, I knew them, but I got to know them after I signed my deal.
Gotcha.
So making my album and making the demos and stuff, I didn't know anybody in the music scene in Philly. And I just went to New York to work with Santi to Brooklyn because that's where she lives, and you know, did everything there. But for that particular song, Mark Batson was asked to produce a song for the Made Manhattan soundtrack, and they asked him, "Who do you want to work with?" And they already had the song picked out.
Okay.
They already knew they wanted someone to do this song, you know, and so. But when they asked who he wanted to work with, he's like, oh, I want to work with this girl, Reese. I want to work with her. And so I just got the call like, hey, this producer, we want you to do this song, you know. We want you to cover this song for the soundtrack. And that's how I met Mark Batson. And he's a great producer, like phenomenal. I feel like a highlight of a person that I worked with, like one of the highlights.
Okay.
And, you know, we talked and we did the song. And it's a great song.
So it wasn't a song that you knew of beforehand. You just, hey.
I know Jefferson Airplane, but I didn't know that. I don't think I knew that particular song at the time.
So the band,
I don't know every song.
The band was Jefferson Starship, the song you sung.
Oh,
They
wait.
became Jefferson Airplane after the lead singer left.
It was Starship first?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
And then they did We Built This City on Rock and Roll.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So same band, different.
Just different configuration. It's a great song, though.
Usually we're products of our environment.
Yeah.
Okay, you might have been in the suburbs of Philly, but
And I was in Philly. I was in the city too. Like
it was still like right now the Detroit rap scene is like
very eclectic, right?
No.
Oh, it's not eclectic.
No, not now.
Okay.
So my generation of Detroit hip hop is the Dillas and from that era. Now it's the Sada Babies and the Peasies, and it's real hood. You know, everybody talking about killing ops or just saying the wild stuff they can say. You go into the suburbs, those are the same things that people are listening to. So I know it. Well, I can't say I know. I'm only assuming that in Philly, neo soul was just ringing everywhere.
I guess so, but I didn't know it because it was like when you're in the beginning of it, unless you're in that camp of the people doing it, how do you really know what's going on? But when my music came out, I was traveling. So I wasn't really aware of like, I knew about all these other artists and stuff. You know, I knew about Erykah Badu and I knew about Jill Scott and all that stuff. And I knew the Roots or whatever, but I didn't work with them. And I just was not on that page. I wasn't in Philly like that. So at that time I was doing stuff in New York and back and forth from the suburbs of Philly to New York. And yeah, I would be in the city. I've been to the 5 Spot. I've seen Jaguar do her thing, you know, at the Black Lily. Like I was there. I was in the audience, but I never sang at it. You know what I mean? But I was around for it, but I wasn't around for it. You know?
Before
it didn't really affect me.
Before the deal and the album, when you was just finding your way, did you ever even do any of that kind of music?
No, I just sang, like I used to take voice lessons as a kid, and I started taking like classical voice lessons as a teenager. Then I went to Temple University, and I was listening to what everybody else was listening to. I was listening to the Fugees, The Score. I was listening to Faith Evans' first album, and then Mary J. Blige's My Life. I wasn't
it's like at home on repeat.
Yeah, like I wasn't really listening to like the Roots or, you know, Jill Scott. I don't even think she was out then. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't like I listened to Billy Idol and rock stuff and Jimi Hendrix and Al Green and Marvin Gaye, and I was listening to all that.
Rock stuff.
Just my family, my mom. Yeah, my mom was really into 80s pop music. So like Devo and like Billy Idol and Adam Ant and you know the Doobie Brothers and Hall and Oates and you know I listened to what my parents listened to.
Got you.
And that was my first introduction to music. It was from my family, not friends at all. Like I was a black girl that lived in the suburbs with a mother and father who weren't from the suburbs. They was you know regular Philly people, or not regular, but they were Philly people, you know. Yeah. So we weren't like, it wasn't like Blackish. You feel me? My mom and dad were not like Blackish at all. We weren't like trying to be suburban. Like we just was some black folks that lived out there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, and I started getting more into it because I was being school, like I was going to school with a lot of white kids and, you know, upper middle class, rich kids or whatever. But like when your family isn't like that, it don't matter who your friends are. Like you still got to go home. Like if you raised in a black family, like you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, we don't do that here.
Because I'm like heavy into Parliament. Like
I like Parliament,
and that's something that my mom and my dad was.
Yeah, that was they were into. So it was what my brother was listening to. Because I'm the youngest, so it was whatever my brother was listening to. My sister was really into just like pop music, like pop stuff, like what you see on the radio, and you know, nothing too heavy. And my brother was into like Eazy-E and DOC and Tribe and Busta Rhymes.
So you just had a smorgasbord.
Yeah, and my dad was like into soul. Yeah, so it was very much a household thing. Like it wasn't like, oh, I went to my first concert and I saw this person on stage and I knew that's what I wanted to do with my life. Like, no, I just sang. I would sing all the time at the house, and my mom was like, all right, let's get her some singing lessons. And I would sing, you know, I'd take voice lessons, but I didn't know it was going to be a job, like, for me until I signed my deal. Like, I didn't know.
So
I was trying to get a deal, but I didn't know if I was going to get one or not. Like, I didn't know anybody else who had a deal. I'm not in a musical family.
So
you know, I play tennis.
It wasn't you play tennis?
Yeah, I used to play tennis and just, you know, just stuff. Regular suburban stuff, and then I would go work at my dad's store in North Philly. You know what I mean? So
there wasn't a moment, like a threshold moment, where you said, "This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life."
When I signed the deal, I was like, "Oh, I'm an artist now. I'm not just a singer. I'm an artist now because I signed a deal." Like that was like the joke.
Holy cannoli!
Yeah. And then it's something that you like grow into, and you're like, "Oh, okay, this is all I really want to do."
I definitely do think that. I've always said that I hate it when they put so much pressure on kids.
Yeah.
Saying you need to know what you want to do now before you go to college. You need to know. And it's like you got to grow up and grow into that.
Yeah.
I never would have thought I'd have been doing film. I thought I was going to rap and that's it.
Right.
I didn't think I was going to make beats, do graphics, all the stuff I do. I never imagined I was going to do it. I was just going to rap. And here it is, I'm in my late 40s, and I'm in love with film.
Right.
I had a threshold where I was like, rap is it.
Yeah.
And you saying, no, not until they signed me. I was like, so it's almost like shit just got real.
Yeah, it got real. It was fun, and it was like something that we were doing in the summertime, and I was doing on the weekends and stuff, like making a demo. And then, you know, Santi was like, oh, I could probably really get you a deal, you know, and I work here, and da-da-da, and it was like, okay, then it became like a plan. Okay, let's try to get a deal. But I still went to college. I was like going to Temple, and I was a finance major, and, you know, and then I finally left, you know. I left early, but and, you know, signed a deal, and it was like, okay, my dad was like, they're going to pay you this much to do what? Yeah. And it was like, yeah, so. And it's,
you know, part of it is really fun.
Yeah, and it was fun. Yeah. It became fun. I mean, making How I Do wasn't the most fun I've had. I feel like Refried Mac was the most fun I had making music. Yeah.
Okay.
It just wasn't fun because it was the first time we had to deal with each other's personalities, the ups and downs of just like working with people. Yeah. You know, you don't like everybody at your job all the time.
Right.
So it was like that kind of thing. And then also like it's a creative thing, so having 3-4 people agree on a creative thing
Yeah.
is challenging. But once we did, we knew that was the one. That was the version. That was the song. When nobody could talk shit about anything in the song, we were like, okay, that's the one. And that's kind of how we, you know.
So you kind of just do what you feel at the moment.
I was, yeah, then. Mm.
So what's the difference now?
Now I feel like this is the thing that that I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to sing, and I like to sing and all that. But I don't necessarily like what I have to, all the things, I don't like the amount of things I have to do in order just to sing.
Mm.
That's the part, because the industry's changed. So,
Yeah.
But other than that, you know, I'm trying to make adjustments, and I am, and, you know, I'm trying to like learn a lot, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a lot of pressure, I feel like.
I mean,
right now.
you've seen a lot. Like from the deal to the company getting absorbed by another company and
Yeah.
then shelving a bunch of stuff and then just getting released to signing with an indie label.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys did put out a project.
Yeah, you talking about Tell It?
Yeah.
Yeah, we put out a mixtape, an album.
The album together. Why am I losing it?
What the album is the Habits of the Heart.
Yeah.
And Party Robot was the mixtape.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did that, and then
It was
I sang back.
systematic, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun.
it was
Yeah,
cool.
okay, yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And then I started singing backgrounds for Gnarls Barkley. I did that.
Yeah.
And then I decided, okay, let me try to like come back out again, you know?
Mm-hmm. So, but then you got that second project. Now, the first one came out 2001, and I was like, when is she going to put out another album?
Right.
Now, at this time, I didn't know anything about what was going on with Geffen and all of that stuff.
Oh, right.
I was just a fan of the music and was just waiting for something else to come out. You and Estero, like, when are they going to drop some more music? And then my same friend said, Reese about to put out another album, and it was Black Girls Rock.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh my God. I remember buying it. I can't tell you from where. And I don't even have it anymore. Last night I was just looking to see if I can find it somewhere.
Did you have a physical copy or?
No,
It was digital. Yeah.
I had a digital copy. Now I'm sitting in the audience and you're on stage and the person that's throwing the show I'm cool with. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. This is the same person that I caught wind of
So many years ago.
so many years ago. And now, fast forward to now, you're sitting right across from me.
Yeah.
It is fucking mind blowing. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm not gonna fan
I would
out.
feel the same way. I felt the same way when I went to the studio once in Los Angeles, and they were like, Faith Evans is coming through. And I was like, what? Faith Evans? And I actually got to like go to her session, hear her sing live in the studio, have a conversation with her, talk to her about what she was happy about, what she wasn't happy about at the time, roll a joint. Like, you know, it was like a whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
I was so geeked. I was geeked. So I've had that moment too. So I know how it feels.
And one thing I've learned about being around popular people, celebrities, people that is famous,
Yeah, like musicians.
whatever you want to call it, is I've never asked for an autograph. I've never asked for a picture because I've learned to really just enjoy seeing the actual just regular person. What is, when it comes to what you do, what is something that you make sure you do per song that you know is going to connect with the people?
I think sometimes it's like talking to them before, like setting up the song, like talking about what do I think the song is about, or telling them, like, have you ever felt like this before, you know, and then singing it, or, you know, performing in a way where you want people to enjoy it. Like some people perform in a way where they want you to sit back and like watch, and they're doing these. You know, I've been to shows. I feel like I've been to some shows where like the artist is like, sit back and watch me dance and watch me do this thing over here, and what, you know. And I think for me, I'm just trying to get people to really listen, hear my voice. You know, that's kind of the most important thing. Hear my voice. And I try to give people tidbits about the song so they can know even more about what I was talking about. Because I feel like with songs that people love, they'll find their own meaning to it.
Yeah.
And it
very poetical.
And it becomes, you know, their song.
Poetic.
Oh, but it'll become like their song as well. And that kind of helps. But telling them like what you wrote it about, you know, kind of draws them in, you know.
That's more of like I would say the songwriter approach.
I guess, you know, I just talk to people.
Yeah. I used to do it, and then I remember one time I did it. I think I was just in front of the wrong crowd, to be honest with you. Because somebody in the crowd said, "Shut the fuck up, sing the song."
Oh, boy.
I was like,
yeah,
all right.
Sometimes you get that, you know.
Yeah.
But you remember you have the microphone, so you can always be louder than that.
Absolutely. Pretty much.
So.
Okay, let's switch gears a little bit. It is a bunch of stuff going on, from Diddy and all of these cases. We know the R. Kelly thing happened.
Oh, wow, yeah.
The Bill Cosby thing happened. Things been said about Russell Simmons. He just spoke up on it. Diddy actually said something. Usually these guys don't say anything. They just kind of let whatever process happens, but those two people are speaking up. I just seen something on Jamie Foxx. Like a lot of people are coming out with allegations of some kind of harassment or some kind of assault or something in that nature. You've been around the major scene, the indie scene. How prevalent is this for real?
It's real.
It's like
It's prevalent.
everywhere, all the time.
I mean, I think it's real in every industry when you're dealing with like the dudes that are at the top of the food chain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about it. You don't think there's a bunch of oligarchs that I'm sure, you know, have hookers and have parties, and they also have wives, like, you know what I mean, or girlfriends, or so I think it's just in general, like, you know, men at the top of the food chain sometimes, like, they can kind of have what they want, do what they want. So they do. There's always going to be someone, no matter what you do, that has a fetish for something.
Absolutely.
You know, that's why girls make so much money on OnlyFans. That's why girls sell pictures of their feet. Like, you know what I mean? So I think it's just, this is a normal amount for the entertainment industry. Like, this is not more than in a Fortune 500 company, or in, or in basketball. It's like, you know, it's controversies and those kind of, you know, things happening. It's because of the people, not necessarily just the industry, I think.
As an artist, as an attractive artist, how much of that did you have to deflect?
I mean, before that, I've been getting hit on since I was 11 years old. And a lot of women have. Like, that's kind of the norm. So I don't look at it like it's the industry. No, like the world.
That's the world.
Yeah, ask any woman you know.
Yeah.
When did you get hit on? Did you ever get hit on as a kid? 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, a woman's gonna say, yeah. Like, you see it. You go to places and you see older men, with younger women, or you see cops sometimes. Like, I remember being in college and like cops would be there to, like, you know, be there at the party at the YMCA or whatever, wherever the party was. And like the cop is outside that's supposed to be there working, but he's also trying to holler at the college kids. You know what I mean? Like, this is like our world that we live in. When you're a female, I'm not going to say if you're pretty or you're not pretty, because beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Yeah. But I feel like women in general we get hit on like forever. Like, it's normal. I worked at my dad's store. My dad had a corner store in North Philly. You know, when I worked at the store, like, people, you know, it wasn't because I was at that store. It wasn't because I was at the studio. It wasn't because, it's just that is the world we live in, period. So it's prevalent in the world. Like, a woman will go to the mall and, you know, somebody is talking about her body. You know, yelling at, "Oh, your booty is fat," or you know what I mean.
Same shit.
It's the same shit. It's just okay. This guy has more money. This guy doesn't. This guy is at the mall, or this guy is, you know, could potentially sign me to a contract.
And they make
But they're not gonna stop.
They make it seem like it's worse because of their position, but in real life, it's just as bad as everything.
It happens in every industry. Like, I'm sure there's somebody. Okay, for example, like what was that basketball player not basketball player, but the coach, Celtics coach, the former Celtics coach.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff he was dealing with Nia Long. Like,
yeah.
Is that an industry thing or is that just a man thing? I don't want to say it's a man thing because there's other good guys out there.
It's just
But you get what I mean? Like, okay,
what people do.
He was dealing with 3 different women at the like that stuff still happens. So, you know, it's very prevalent. You know, like you go on a meeting, you're dialed up, you know, and like I remember going to a meeting once and the person like went to embrace me and I did one of these numbers and my manager was like, "Oh my God," you know? But it's like I wasn't raised to just embrace random white men that I have a meeting with.
Got you.
Just because. It's just not what my dad and my mom taught me to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not that kind of person in general anyway. Like I'm not like a real touchy-feely person. So I don't find, you know, we're here for business.
I've seen situations. It's a very hard subject to even speak on because everybody feels so strongly about whatever side they're on. Mm-hmm. I've seen both sides. Mm-hmm. So I've seen where the guy was doing too damn much.
And then when the girl's doing too much. I've heard about that too.
So I remember one particular guy was doing too much and I stepped to him.
Right.
I said, if I catch you doing this again, I'm going to beat your ass.
Yeah, it's like...
that's not cool.
But that's the accountability that I think we need to have more of.
I agree. But then there's situations where I remember I did a major concert. I was in Austin, Texas. And the guy on stage literally said, for all the women that want to get after the show, I'm going to need y'all to get out that door now. And it was a literal stampede.
Oh, I believe it.
Of women fighting to get through that door.
But even that's that level of it. There's levels of it where the actual female artist goes to meetings with like no underwear on or something like that. You know what I mean? Like there's times where like females can do pretty much the same thing, like be as inappropriate. It's not like just a man thing or just a woman thing, but like it's that happens in a lot. We all hear about the boss and the secretary. Like that's just a different industry, you know? So here we have the record company and the artist, you know?
So here we got this isolated incident. We don't know if the artist came in with no underwear on.
Right.
We don't know if the executive said, take your drawers off.
Right.
Because they're by themselves.
Yeah.
And whatever this thing happens, we have no witnesses. We don't have...
Sometimes there's no witnesses.
Sometimes there's no witnesses, right? But we hear the allegation online. Mm-hmm. And generally, in most cases, the guys will take the guy's side. Most cases, the girl will just automatically believe the girl.
I think in most cases, we take the side of the first person that comes out with the information. That's what I think.
Okay, so let's do this. Jonathan Majors, the actor. You know, it was allegations that he had assaulted the woman.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
You know, he assaulted his girlfriend. That's what was going on. Well, so it stopped companies from working with him. Mm-hmm. They was like, we got to wait and see what's going on with this. I appreciate the company saying that instead of just totally canceling on that. Like, we got to see what's going on with this before we move forward. But I just seen the video of the incident last night. And the girl was trying to fight him and he literally ran for blocks.
Oh, wow.
He ran from her, and she was chasing him. But then she went to the police. And had it not been cameras all over the place.
Right, who would have believed? Just like Chris Brown and Rihanna. Like, who would have believed, like...
How do you even know what to believe, what to navigate? I can see how when you walk into a room, you do back up. Because you don't know what the intentions is of this person, and you don't know what it's going to turn into.
Yeah, you just, I mean, and there were other people around, you know what I mean? But I just wasn't comfortable. I was like, whoa. But yeah, I think it's like a situation where you know, it's always he say, she say, and, you know, it's, and then you get your witnesses and you're this and you're that. But that's it happens in our world. This is like our world now.
So when something like that happens, and then all of a sudden more and more people are speaking up, you got some people that say that's BS, some people that say they gave them strength to speak. What do you think?
One, I guess the right answer is I mind my business.
You just have it to Brown.
I mind my business.
Mind your business.
But, you know, I just always think, I'm not real, to be honest, I always kind of think that, like, you know, I always think from my experiences, you know, and I'm like, oh yeah, they probably did it. You know, that probably happened.
Yeah.
Based off of maybe someone told me, they heard about it. Maybe somebody close to that person said, oh yeah, I heard that he was doing this and that to the girl. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, and maybe it's a rumor, but maybe because I heard that rumor first, and then I see that happen, I'm like, oh yeah, he probably did that. You know, but I don't think anybody wants to be known for any of that kind of stuff on both sides.
Right.
So I don't, you know, I know for some of the situations I was in, I talked to people and they had issues with a particular person and they didn't want to speak on it because they didn't want their career to be that. They didn't want their name to be Googled and that pop up.
Right.
You know, and I totally get that. But I also, you know, I also got to keep it true. You know, I'm not going to go out like that. Like, I just want to keep it 100. I don't want to be a person that, you know, all you really can do is really just really be that person that you want to be. And if something happened to you and you can be honest, you know, be honest about it, you know, live your truth. Like, that's the most important thing in life, is to just be who you are, you know? But with all of that stuff, it sucks because I just feel like it most likely happened, because that's, you know, it's like for every situation you can kind of see how something like that could happen.
Yeah.
You know, but again, it could all be lies, you know? I'm not a person that I usually like stand with victims. I'm that kind of person. Like, that's like my first nature. If I find out information that negates that, then it's like, okay, I found out information that says this isn't true anymore. But I usually go with the victim. Like,
yeah, I try to.
You don't want to like kick a victim when they're down. Like, it's like weird.
Right, like that's bad, right?
That's what they did. I mean,
like, you don't want to kick a victim when they're down, and then you don't want to kick somebody who didn't do something.
Right. Right.
So for me, it's always
yeah. They might not have done it.
Right. Like R. Kelly absolutely did it. It was visual proof. You just can't deny that. That was you, bro. Some other stuff.
Yeah.
Like Harvey Weinstein absolutely happened.
Oh,
you know, they had enough. But some things, they just don't have enough. And it's you know, these are two lives that are affected. The victim and the person who
was accused.
And I think it's so crazy how we, the public, and I'm talking people who haven't even went through, I can even understand somebody who may have went through something like that.
Yeah, having something.
You know, it's like a trigger for them. But some people who didn't, they just choose and damn near go on a campaign.
Yeah, it's weird.
To ruin either side, you know, and I'm like, it has nothing to do with you. I think that what you're saying, you mind your business, is probably...
Yeah, because most people, like, online, they don't know the person that they're looking up to or they're listening to. And all they know is what we feed to them through these portals. And
form an opinion.
Yeah, and, like, sometimes I think fans get too fanatical and they don't really understand that the music that they're listening to is not the person, or that that person can be multifaceted and they can be an asshole too. You know,
Absolutely.
they can be a rapist too. They can be a sexual harasser too. They can be a great songwriter too.
Yeah.
They can be a great rapper, a great singer, a great dancer, a great, you know, music exec, as well as be, you know, a hurt person. Because I feel like hurt people hurt people.
Yeah, but that's a known fact.
Yeah, so that's really where it just stems from hurt. And when you think about a lot of people and like where they come from, it pretty much explains like why they are that way. You know, a lot of these guys, they don't have really great relationships with their mothers. You know, they may buy their mom a home, buy their mom a car, make sure she's in a fur, but the relationship isn't good.
Yeah.
But they still do these things for this person as if it's all good. But a lot of people, they don't have good relationships with their parents. It's like
a narrative. You have to take care of mama.
Right.
When you
For
get
some
some money.
right.
Buy your mama a house. That's a thing. And
But you don't know what that relationship was. Your mom could have been taking your checks all this time. Or you know what I mean? And or just doing something crazy or brainwashing you or just ignorant and not even know better. Like it's a lot of people, they don't do better because they actually don't know better.
Yeah, this is true.
You know, so I don't know.
Wow. Whole lot of life. So, are you making music now?
Right now, I kind of am, but kind of not. Like I am right now. I have music done, so I'm just focused on releasing it more than making new songs. But I kind of do make some new songs here and there, but not often.
But it's safe to say you kind of don't want to release it independent?
If someone gave me a record deal that I liked, I would totally sign a record deal.
You just got to be one that you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just one that it's fair, that one that's, you know, I like the terms. That's it, you know, and has like, you know, a good team and to support it.
So if the deal doesn't come and you got this music.
Oh, I'm going to release it. I just released a song called Two Blackjacks on all platforms through Venice Music. And that was like the first like independent thing I've done in a long time. And I re-recorded my debut album, How I Do.
Okay.
Last year.
I heard about that.
Yeah, I wanted to put out a 20th anniversary vinyl. So I went to the label and I tried to become a third-party licenser. So I could basically get the music from them and then give it to a vinyl presser or whoever else to press up physical copies. And they said they were fine with that. And when they sent me the footage, when they sent me the files, they were corrupted. And so I probably could have still gotten some files from like what we all have heard, like take a CD and like remaster it. I mean, I'm sure technology, there's a way.
Yeah.
But it made more sense to re-record the entire album and to own the new master of it and to just release that and keep going with my fans and not have to pay the label anything.
Right.
You know, and to be honest, the deal, just to let people know, like if you've had an album out in the past and you become a third-party licenser, that's probably the best thing for you to do because you'll make more money off of that actual album than you pretty much ever made off of each album on your contract.
Wow.
Because the percentages are low. Like they only wanted like 12% or something, you know, of each album that I pressed up.
Yeah.
But they didn't have, the files were corrupted. So
you're free and clear.
Yeah, I just re-recorded it myself, and I'm gonna I'm waiting right now for the test pressings. So I have a pre-sale up on McKeeReese.com, which is the label where the website where I sell like merchandise and stuff, and from time to time, and it's up there for pre-sale right now, and it's gonna have a new cover, new artwork, a digital booklet, art pieces. Like I'm kind of adding things into it because it's a 20th anniversary.
Yeah, making it special.
Yeah, making it special, and because there's only going to be 1,000 copies.
Are you gonna do the same thing with Black Girls Rock?
I don't know because I was told that it might not. I was told that the album wasn't paid for.
Okay.
from the label. So there would be like a lot of money I'd have to pay on the back end
to even use
to
it.
even use it. But if I re-record it, then I own that master, you know?
Right.
But it's still like, how am I finding all the people that need to get paid for what they did, you know, publishing wise?
Change then, huh?
But the production would change. It would be like all new production, but you still need to pay the people who created it.
Yeah.
Like their publishing rights. So if it gets played, they automatically get money. It's not that I have to pay money out of my pocket for it, but I just have to make sure like the credits read correctly so those people can get the money. But I don't know, like there's actually one song from that album that actually was completely paid for. It's called For Who You Are.
Okay.
So that one has come out, not officially, it was kind of like it got leaked, but people love it and they sing it and it has like 7 million views on YouTube and,
Wow.
yeah. And Universal owns it. They love the song, but when they first approached me about releasing it with them, my initial thing was, if you want that, then I want something. So I want you to make me a third-party licensor of my first album. Let's put that out. See how that goes.
And they say it cool, it's just, but the files was corrupt.
Right. And then let's get to that. So I haven't gotten to that For Who You Are song because this didn't go.
Did you know it's another artist out with the same name?
There is. Yeah. It's like R.E.S.
I literally to today, I went to Tidal, I typed in Reese.
Oh, he's not putting the dots in there.
And your catalog plus.
His, right?
Yeah, but.
He's a rapper, right?
No.
Oh, a singer?
No.
What?
It's literally a distorted guitar, one note playing for like 5 minutes.
Oh, I don't know who that person is.
Yeah, they got this a black and white cover.
Oh, I gotta listen to it.
And
it's under my name, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that means I'm getting his royalties. So he should get on that. He got to get on it.
So you own the name Reese?
I believe.
Trademark.
Well, it's not, I think it's trademarked automatically because I've been using it for so long. And in such an official way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can prove it. But I didn't technically buy the trademark, but someone was telling me I should buy it. But they also said that because like I have enough proof to prove like that
it's yours.
Yeah, that it's mine. So I don't need to I don't need to have that paper, but it's nice to have it. But I did talk to somebody who had the name Reese, R.E.S. And I just told him frankly, I said, I'm getting your royalties, like you gotta like figure this out, because SoundCloud, I realized that this guy's music was under my name, and I reached out to SoundCloud. Sound Exchange, not SoundCloud, Sound Exchange, and I was like, they were like, yeah. I said, this isn't these. They came back to me and saying, what about these songs? And I'm like, this is not me. It's R.E.S. And they were like, okay, well, thanks for telling us. So they switched it, but I don't know how much of his money I had gotten,
And if you wasn't a cool person, you could have kept getting it.
I could have kept getting it, yeah. But I don't think he made a lot of money also, you know what I mean? So I think it was not a substantial amount, but it's just, and I had a conversation with him. Like I actually talked to this man. I think he's in like Miami, Florida. This, not the person you're talking. You're talking about another person.
Yeah, it's literally spelled exact same way, no dots. I just seen it today, and I was like,
is it on Apple Music? You said?
I seen it on Tidal.
On Tidal, yeah.
On Tidal.
So I'm gonna have to reach out.
Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, she put out a song last year? I didn't know. And I clicked
I put out one a couple weeks ago, so check that out.
Okay, got you.
2 blackjacks.
I hit play, and because of the guitar, the way it started,
you're like, oh, it might be her.
It might be her, and then it just never stopped.
No, that's
it's just one long note.
Yeah, that's not me.
I don't know what that kind of music is called.
Yeah.
But
it ain't me. I'm for the long term. I try to make long-term decisions.
Yeah, you got a full understanding of it. You're not one of them people say, oh, the labels dick me around or whatever.
They dicked me around though.
You think so?
Yeah, because I was sitting on a label with an album done and like they weren't going to the next step.
Oh, when
You know,
Geffen got it.
yeah, like they weren't going. And then I had a meeting with Ron Fair, and he shows me a list of like 10 to 12 albums that need to come out before mine. Because when the labels finally figured out who's going to be the president of this company, who's going to be the president of that, it's going to be Geffen, and who's going to do A&M, and who's going to do Interscope, you know. I met with Ron Fair, who was running Geffen at the time, and he was like, oh, I got to put out all these albums. And it was like Justin Timberlake, will.i.am, Black Eyed Peas, Fergie. It was like all these albums. I was like, and then mine? I was like, and that's when I asked to leave the label. So I asked for the release. I wasn't dropped, you know, but it doesn't matter to me whether people think I was dropped or not. I wasn't getting anything done there. So
Right, what I read is exactly what you said.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, so I asked to leave, and they were like, you can leave, but you can't leave with your album. So that was like, you know, a thing. And
I mean,
but then it leaked and got out anyway.
Paid for.
Yeah, but it got out anyway. So.
So how much of that stuff do you perform?
Not much of it.
Really?
Yeah, I really don't even. You know what? It's funny because there's people who love how I do, and then there's people that also love Black Girls Rock. Like they're like, that was my album, like that album. But I don't. I need to put it into the set. But the other thing about it is like when I don't have the files to those songs. So the way I do my show now, I do it with a drummer and tracks.
Yeah.
And the tracks are like every instrument and every sound that you hear are on a different track.
Right.
So we just mute out the drums. We have a live drummer play. We have like the guitars playing, the bass playing in the track and everything. But if I want to do that for the Black Girl Rock songs, I have to re-record all the songs over again. So I can have those sounds, so I can mute the drums, you know, because that's how I do shows, because that's a cost-effective way of doing shows.
The only reason you would ever do that is to do the same thing you did with Hot.
Yeah, or if I manage to get it re-recorded, then I will probably press it up, and you know, it's not cheap to re-record an entire album.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not, you know, it's not cheap. Like if you want to pay people what they should get paid. Like how you work at McDonald's, you get paid, what, $15 an hour or something like that. Like if you want to pay people just what they are supposed to get paid, that, I mean, it'll run you $20K.
Yeah.
Just, you know, like, and that's without the glitz and the glamour. That's just like getting it done.
Yeah.
You know, and paying people what they deserve.
Exactly.
So I don't know how many independent artists just have 20 grand sitting around.
Not many. Well, that's not true.
Some do, but
I believe most do. They just manage their money wrong.
well, I mean, most do, I guess, if they have another job and they're good at saving. But in general, how many people you know are good at
Not.
you get what I mean? So it's like, what makes you like, you know, but a lot of people say, well, artists, they're not good with their money. And it's like, no, people in general aren't good with their money. Let's not say, you know, people in general are late. It's not just artists are late.
Yeah, I
know?
really like that you're saying that,
It's like,
because
come
we
on.
do put these generalizations on
Creative people.
creative people or people that's in a certain light, when in real life,
All of us deal with the same shit.
yeah, it's the same stuff.
The same stuff. So no, a lot of people, like, do you know a lot of random people that just have 20 grand sitting in the bank? That they,
Random, no.
that like just friends, like, you know,
I
like,
got some friends, yeah.
you know,
Not
and-
everybody, no.
so that's probably the same thing.
I do this exercise. I mentor young kids, like teenagers, and I have them get a piece of paper and I tell them to write these things down. How much you spend every week on junk food, weed, sneakers, clothes, fast food, subscriptions, video games, apps, all stuff you don't need. And we get a sum, and I say times that by 52.
Yeah.
And on average, it's over $10,000.
Yeah, no one can believe they have that much money.
Yeah.
I do that with myself with my food budget, and I'm like, oh my God, why am I eating out again?
Yeah.
Like, how did I even have this much money to spend on just eating out. Like,
And
what am I doing?
we'll think like, man, I'm not making no money, I'm broke.
Yeah, right.
But
You really-
though all those little bitty things add up to
Yeah.
so much money. I remember one year I went back and I spent $7,000 on eating out.
Yeah, it's like you have to be. It's just about being intentional
Yeah.
with how you spend. It's okay to spend $7,000 a year or $10,000 or $20,000 on eating out if that's what you love. It's okay to spend $400 a month on cable if that's what watching television is like your favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's when it becomes like you're just not even.
When it's a hindrance is when
When it's a hindrance and you're not even.
like now I can't do this, I can't do these things I want.
You can't do what you
of these
want
habits.
because of these, these things that you don't really want. You just do.
And that's what I try to tell people, because people come to me a lot asking me how can they push their business, how can they push music. I don't have the budget, I don't. And I say,
You got something.
how many pair of those shoes you got? They say, oh man, I got a collection. You got the money.
You did, yeah.
You're just spending on things that you want
On things.
instead of what you really need is whatever
Or
it
the other
takes to
things that
get
you
what
really
you
want. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's
agree.
temporary. Put the money towards what's gonna move you in the direction that you want to live a certain way. Then you can buy all of that stuff
Right. Once you get there.
when you get it. Like I don't want to see you at the bus stop. Well, it's different because Detroit is not a transit city like that.
But in any city, it's like you're at the bus stop and you have
And you got on
$500 shoes.
You know,
You have a $700 belt on.
what are you doing right now?
Right.
Like you could be doing so much more than that. And you don't necessarily have to have a car, but you could be investing.
You could have bought a flight and gone somewhere.
Exactly.
No, I feel the same way. Like
Yeah.
denim is like so expensive and it's like that's like a one-way flight to paradise.
So you're kind of recording now.
Yeah, I'm kind of recording. It's just being independent, a lot of my focus has to go on the business part. And so right now, the music is done. That album, that 20th anniversary that I re-recorded is done. It's in the presser company. But now it's like, okay, what's the PR? Who's going to do the videos? I'm working with an investor now, so that's been pretty good. And I also have a project manager named Chris Shen, who is a great project manager. And we're trying to do that part of it. So it's like, and then I have to figure out how I'm making a living for my livelihood, because I don't do shows every week. I'm not, out there like that. So that's why I don't make music every day, because it's like real life stuff, and
gotta live.
because I want to, and because the way I want to live. Like I want to stay. I want to stay as an artist. I don't want to have like another career and singing. I think for me it's one or the other. Either I'm going to have a bunch of BS like side gigs or something, or and have my career as an artist, or let me put the artist thing down and let me just do a career for.
Do you see yourself ever putting it down?
Yes and no. Sometimes I do, and then some days I don't.
I gave up once. Like it was literally like, okay, I'm tired of trying. And then I decided, no, I'm just gonna do it because I like to do it. And I just started making music.
And that changed everything, right?
And then the money started coming. The second I stopped caring about music industry, how many units I sell, how many likes I got, I'm just making this because I like it and I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Then came everything. Now I'm overseas touring.
I don't even feel like I can ever. I don't know how I could get to that place without, committing to another thing. It's like I'd have to actually stop, do something else, then get back to it. But I don't know if I'll ever get to that point where I can just do it just for fun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it is so tied into like how I make a living.
Yeah.
And if I untie it and make it not, if I don't take the time, then it's like my time is
figure out how to eat.
Yeah, I got to eat, and so it's,
it's pretty trippy. It's like very different with us. Like I've learned to, like, I really just want to do music. Let me say that first and foremost. However, because of the way things is, you got to find a way to make money.
Right.
So my thing was, okay, how can I just make music? And I figured that, well, if I set up a business and then hire people, y'all run that, see y'all later, I'm going over here to make this music. That has, for me, I can't speak for nobody else, that was the best move that I could have made, because I genuinely, like, if I wasn't making music, I would be losing my dang on mind. Like, it's therapy for me. So
I got to get back to, I don't know. For me, it's weird because I came into it making money.
Right.
It's like different. It's like a mind fuck.
It's like, I'm about to use the craziest analogy. It's like selling dope and then going to get a job after that.
Yeah.
Like, you're used to making thousands per day and now you're making 15 an hour.
Yeah, it's like, well.
It doesn't compute at all.
It's hard to get around.
Wow.
So it's like weird, but I don't ever see them separate, but it probably would be good for my mental health to like stop, probably.
Really?
Yeah. To like chill and just like do something else.
What else do you like to do other than music?
Travel.
Are you a tourist?
I like going to museums.
You like a touristy traveler, or you like to go and be among the people and see how they live?
A little bit of both. I'm not going to the hood in every place I go.
Right.
Like, I'm never going to the hood where, where I vacation, but I want to see both. I want to do fun things and be, and see the culture of things, but then I also like the fly bougie shit.
The fly bougie shit. Yeah, I was
Hence your cup. Like,
no, I saw this cup and I could not resist it. I could not resist it.
I know, I like it.
Yeah, this is my way of getting all the water I need in one day in one cup.
Right.
Instead of another bottle. I just fill it up, and that's my whole day right there. I'm the guy that'll be in a foreign country and be like, all right, y'all, I'm out. And we'll just go wander off. Like, I love wandering, but I was just recently in Egypt and
that ain't it. Oh, okay, so maybe I am that type, because I did that too. Like, I went to Bali and then but I stopped in Japan for a 14-hour layover and roamed around Japan, Shanghai, by myself with like white braids in my hair, being a black woman.
Wow.
Just like, and then I was like, what the hell am I doing?
So
I need to get back to the airport.
So I got a formula of how I navigate.
So I feel you.
I got a formula of how I navigate in foreign countries. Because it's kind of trippy. You go to a foreign country and you're literally illiterate.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, for the most part.
For the most part.
Yeah, Japan felt like that for me.
Yeah, in Taiwan, I was definitely illiterate.
Yeah, like when you go to those places, you're like,
whoa.
Then you see Baskin Robbins, you're like, oh, wait, I can read.
Yeah, 7-Eleven, oh, wow.
Oh, Pizza Hut, okay, I can read. And literally, yeah, everything. You're just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
But there are situations where there's a language barrier, you can't read stuff. And so what I've learned is when I get to a foreign country, I'll go out in the middle of the night and I'll walk around the area that I'm in. So now I know where I'm at. I'll look at the street signs. And the second thing I do is I ask whomever my person is, how do you pronounce the vowels and consonants? I might not even know what the word is, but I can read it and I can read it out loud. And once I get that, it's easier for me to communicate.
Yeah.
Because I know the main thing is I want to know where I'm staying at, and I want to be able to tell somebody where I'm going.
Yeah.
Like, whatever street that is, I want to be able to say it.
Right.
And I want to say it correctly. Because sometimes you'll say it and they'll be like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
Those two things have saved me so many times. When you go to a foreign country, how do you navigate around?
Alone. Alone, usually. And I don't dress flashy. And
you blend in?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I blend in, because I am a black woman that's traveling to a country
with
that
white braids.
yeah, and I'm just traveling to a country where there's not a lot of black people.
Mm-hmm.
But even when I did travel to like Nigeria, it's like I just try to look regular. Like I don't try to look flashy. I try to look like a student. You know what I'm saying? People ask me like, well, why are you traveling? I'm like, oh, I'm a student. Can you afford it? Oh, my parents. Like and or I just say I'm on vacation for pleasure and like one time I went to Russia alone and I went with other people in a band, but all the guys in the band, they were like with the oligarch, like they were doing their thing. Like, so I was pretty much, and knew when I was going that for a whole week, I would be pretty much virtually there by myself because they are going to be doing other things. And then we were going to go to Siberia. So when I was there, I said, okay, I want to go to art museums. I was in Russia, so I said, I want to go to the oldest, Russian bathhouse. I try to find good restaurants. I try to just find things that I like to do and go do them. Hire a car and go. Sometimes I'll map things out. Like when I had the layover in China, I mapped it out. Like, what do I want to do when I get there? What's near the airport? And I went to this artist district. I can't remember the name. It was called like M50 or M55 or something like that. And it was just all art, So that was fun and ended up getting something to eat around there and then just went back to the airport, But it was, it took trains and, it was uncomfortable and comfortable. And I'm walking around seeing koi fish ponds and, looking at the street food and, people whispering on the train because I'm on the train. They're like, Beanz, Obama, because they didn't know if I was African or they didn't know if I was from Africa or a black person from America.
Right.
So when I said the U.S., they're like, Obama, Beanz. Like, wow. They don't know. And, I just kind of lay low, like, and I just do regular stuff that I want to do, like, touristy stuff if I'm by myself. And if I'm with someone else, then, depending on if it's a man or a woman, that has a lot to do with what I do.
It is absolutely impossible for me to lay low when I go out the country. Because usually it's not right now, but my beard is normally bright blue.
Oh, yeah.
It's like super blue, and I'm tall, I'm a big dude, like...
Yeah, you can't hide, really.
I can't hide.
Yeah.
So the second I walk out, they're assuming I'm somebody that does something.
Yeah.
And I get to... Some people sneaking with their phone and taking pictures.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in Japan, they did that a lot, but they were like really respectful. China, they weren't as respectful. And not that they weren't as respectful, they just weren't as like Japan people, you'll never know. Like you'll turn around and everybody look to the right. So you're like, were they looking or were they not? Like their eyes, it's like their eyes. In Japan, they're like talking about you. Like, when they're talking about you. They don't care, like.
So I remember when I was in Taiwan, everybody was pissed at me on the train. And at the moment, I thought it was some racial stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I was being an asshole.
Oh, right. And they didn't know it.
Yeah. So there are certain seats that are designated for the elderly.
Oh, yeah. They don't play that.
They
don't play that.
And you're not supposed to eat on the train. I was doing both.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I got on the train, I had a snack. Right. I sat in the seat, and people was just looking at me real mean. And it took an older woman to lean over and tell me.
Right.
And I was like, oh, my God. I've been doing this every day. That's why everybody was looking at me crazy.
Right.
So I think it's really trippy that we, because of America, I was quick to assume it was a race thing.
Yeah.
Like we're just like, everything's race. Race.
It's just like, we're different. We're different there. There, you're different. They're just looking at you like, sometimes it's like, they're looking because they're like, they actually never seen a person that looks like you in person. Like in real life. Like, because it's, one race, in Taiwan, it's not necessarily one race. In Japan, it's not one race, but the majority is one race.
Yeah.
So it's like they don't have people that just walk in, unless you're at a military, you live near the military base or something like that. Like you're not seeing black folks every day, and you're not seeing like black people that are, or anybody that's over 6 foot or over 5'10". So it's a couple of things why they, but I think the more you travel, you understand that
Start
naturally.
understanding.
You get that, you know.
Did you get a different outlook on America after the first time you left the country?
No, but I got a different perspective on America when the first time I went to Nigeria. Going to Nigeria and then going back home, it was crazy. It was a way different perspective. Like
Really?
that is the trip.
What's
What happened? Just you know, you don't know how different Africa is until you go. Until you go there. You know what I mean?
What's the biggest difference that you saw?
They, you know, that continent, and I mean those countries in Africa or whatever, you know, they just they operate differently. Like the continent of Africa runs differently than the continent of America, the North American stuff. Like we operate differently. Like for example, when you I was in the New York airport and I was like, oh, let me exchange money. So let me get Naira, whatever the money is in Nigeria. And they're like, oh, we don't have that currency. I'm like, I'm in JFK right now trying to exchange money. If I wanted yen, they got it. If I wanted, you know, kroner, they got it. If I wanted, pretty much, you think they got everything. And they're like, oh, Nigeria, we don't have that money. We don't do that.
I thought they used French money.
They don't. They got their own. So when I went there, I asked my priest, I said, oh, can you take me to, I need to exchange money. And before I went, he told me, before I even got on the plane, he said, when you bring money, only bring hundreds and try to get hundreds that are like new hundreds, like 2021, 2022, like 2020, you know. But I went in 2019, but he was just saying like get newer hundreds. And to me, I'm from Philly. That's like kind of like, yo, you're in my pocket already. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you know, what kind of advice is this? And he was just like, bring only hundreds. And I'm just like, am I about to get got or something? Like, what?
Right.
You know? And then when I got there, we go to exchange money. And I'm like, this isn't a bank. Like, where the bank at? And he's like, oh, this is like the black market where we exchange. You get better rates here.
Really?
And I'm like, that should sound like a scam to me. Take me to the bank, please. And he was like, you get better rate? I was like, take me to the bank. And this person knows me, so they know like when I'm in business, like take me to the goddamn bank. So he's like, okay, cool. He's like, oh, I'll show you. We take it to the bank. Because this person I know, like I've known him for a couple of years. And so he takes me to the bank and he was right. It was less money. I was going to get less money if I took my money to the bank and exchanged it than if I did it on the black market.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it wasn't counterfeit?
It wasn't counterfeit money, no.
Wow, black money exchange.
Yeah. And so that's like, you never would do that.
Yeah.
You would never come to America and exchange your money anywhere except the bank or a currency exchange place. That's just like foreign to you, to go to a black market exchange rate place and get a better deal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I never even thought that
existed.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that was day one. So then, you know, I walked on my last day. That was day one with the bank. And on the last day, I went to a hotel to get something to eat that was close by to the airport. And I walked by this person, this white Caucasian person, and I just assumed they were from America. And I said, oh, hey, are you from the States? You know, because at that point I had been there for like 3 weeks, I think I'd been there. And it was like, it was a white person, you know what I'm saying? And I spoke to him like, oh, you're from America, right? And he was like, insulted. He was insulted.
Wow.
And so that was another like, whoa. And then the fact that there were things that I saw in Africa, I mean, in Nigeria, in Ibadan, that were so tribal and so old school tribal. Like tribal, like that's like the oldest school you can get, right? That like the rituals that they did and stuff like that, they were so like foreign to me that it was startling, like watching Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and them eating monkey brains.
Damn.
And at that moment, I was like, damn, I might as well be white too. Like, I feel like I'm white right now. But it's not that you're white, it's we're Americanized.
Yeah, we are.
That was the eye opener, how Americanized and how Western culture has got my brain on lock. And the other thing was when people say like, oh, you're pro-black or you're, you're Afrocentric because they, see like, oh, I have braids in my hair or something like that. And, they say girls who wear their hair like this maybe are less Afrocentric or something, right? Because you have your hair straightened. And like, that was the whole thing, like, you got to love yourself and, all that stuff. And I think that people here that look down on people who wear their hair like a white person, I think they don't really understand that doesn't matter. What matters more is what's inside their brain and what they're thinking. Because, yeah, people say, oh, you have your hair blonde or you have your hair straight and they don't say this to me, but it's just saying like people at one point would say that, you hear like, oh, is she trying to be white or whatever. But it's really the fact that a lot of these girls that have these afros or they dress more Afrocentric, if I took them over to Ibadan, over to Nigeria, and we did a ritual that Africans or Nigerians or West Africans have been doing for hundreds of thousands of years, they would be fucking afraid. They will be scared because they never seen nothing like that. They never seen a ritual done, an African ritual done.
Right.
They don't know nothing about it, so they're afraid of it. We're afraid of it. I was afraid of it. They would think it was evil. It was, sacrilegious. It was not religious. It was.
It's the actual culture.
It's our culture, and the fact that we think our culture is gross is because that's the problem. Not how I wear my hair, but the fact that I'm looking at my own stuff. I'm looking at my own culture, and it's so foreign to me that I
like it's bad.
That it's bad, or that it's just foreign to me. Anything that happens in Africa should not be that foreign to me or to you.
Right, but it is.
But it is, and that is where the brainwashing is. It's not about my hair. There's women that wear their hair any old kind of way. That don't mean they don't understand what's going on in the world. And I was one of those women. I wore my hair, very Afrocentric. Sometimes I do and whatever. Yeah. But I didn't know about the rituals they do in my own culture. And when I saw them, I was like, whoa, this is a lot. I was, you sacrificing animals and you doing this, we doing that. Like, but we not sacrificing the animal and leaving it there. We sacrificing and we gonna pray over it and then we gonna eat it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But just the fact of seeing it and somebody saying that's not what we're supposed to do, to the point where now we're in America and I could pull somebody right from out the street and show them that and they would be like, that's crazy, or what, just because they don't have the knowledge and they don't know where they come from.
But we're okay with eating meat all day, and that's what happens to them.
And not even just eating meat, but we're okay with eating meat that was made in a factory.
Yeah.
A GMO situation, something that's pumped up with thing versus we don't even know how to prepare a chicken from when it's alive to on our table.
Yeah.
But they do over there.
I had a white guy. I was talking to this white guy, he hunts. And he was very passionate about it. And me thinking like a regular person, you crazy. And he said, they shoot the deer, they kill the deer, and then they gut it right there in the woods. And he said, and I make sure we eat the heart. And me, I'm like, what?
It has the most nutrition or something? Or?
No, he said it was a respect thing for him. If I'm going to go out in these woods and take your life, then I have to make use of everything.
Right, right.
And so I eat the thing that kept that thing alive. It was this whole little weird thing.
It's almost like a Native American thing. Like they don't waste anything, and like Alaskan thing, they don't waste, you know?
Yeah.
And then they got these white people telling them like, y'all killing too many animals. Like, no, we know how many we can kill for them to be alive.
Right, but when y'all kill for sport.
When y'all kill for sport, or not even kill for sport, when you put tags on animals to tag them, to trace them, to you know, to watch them, to observe them in the wild. You know how you tag an animal. Mm-hmm. You think that animal didn't come with a tag. It wasn't birthed with a tag. So now you're bringing it back to its group of, you know, its group with a tag on it. It's like that sometimes doesn't play out right.
Right.
You know, and you know that kills a lot of animals because they're like, well, what you now have a smell on you that we ain't never smelled before, or you know, it's those other things. So it's not really fair to just say like, you know, to the indigenous people like what they shouldn't be doing and what it's like. I need to role reverse.
You need to understand the culture first before you open up your damn mouth. Pretty much.
But that's what I learned from going out of the country. Like, you know, when I went, that was like the most wow. Like I really have been brainwashed on some Western culture bullshit.
Yeah.
To the point where I think it matters the way I wear my hair. The fact that I think it even matters. Like, that shit don't matter.
I realized that my clothes don't matter in Amsterdam.
Right. Yeah. It's like you realize certain, you're like, wait a minute. Like, why? And you're like, and this is that's another reason why I don't, when I'm going to other, you know, I like to go and shop when I'm there. I don't buy a bunch of clothes before I go on a trip, or, you know, some people like they'll buy, you know, because they want to be fresh to death when they in this place.
Right.
You know, I kind of like to just do what I normally would do and then just like go shopping and buy stuff that's there and come back home. And, you know, but Africa, you know, and specifically Nigeria, that trip was eye-opening and really made me realize like, wow, like when they say we're brainwashed, this is what they're talking about.
It is real. Yeah.
It's real, and it's not about our hair. It's not about lightening your skin.
It's the American culture.
It's the culture. It's the Western culture. It's the fact that we say that it's primitive to not live in a building that's like concrete. Even though putting the concrete on the ground, like we get the water from the ground. Why would we put concrete over top of the ground? All it's going to do is pollute it. If that's the way, so like it may be primitive, but is it smart? You know, like when I was in Africa, it was 97 degrees, 24 hours a day. It didn't feel like it. There were people that had sweatshirts on, and the same outfit I had on, people walking outside with this on in 97 degrees and not sweating like normal, like have your whole outfit on, like whatever, right? And it's because they don't have a whole bunch, at least the city I was in Ibadan, which is like hours away from Lagos.
Okay.
And they didn't have a bunch of cement everywhere. So when the sun is beaming and it's 97 degrees, guess what? That heat goes into the ground.
It's getting absorbed.
It's getting absorbed. It's not bouncing off of asphalt or bouncing off of concrete. That's why 97 degrees don't feel like 97 degrees there. Wow. Like at least that day, the days I was there, you know? You know, is it primitive to not put asphalt on top of something that is going to pollute the water that you drink every day? Like, is that primitive or is that smart? Like, is it really primitive, though? Come on. Like, you know, you guys just made more problems and more problems.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, the earth is going to heal itself. And you see, if you can lay some cement down and you'll see some few years later.
Yeah, you messed it up.
Those plants is growing through that stuff.
And they're growing through it, but it's like, you know, if you get your water from a well, you're not going to cement it. It just doesn't make sense. You're going to pollute the water that you drink.
Bottom line.
So like, when they say like, you know, oh, people don't wear shoes in Africa, they can walk around barefoot.
Yeah,
because they're walking on dirt.
On the soil.
They're walking on soil.
We're walking on pollution.
So don't be so quick to, you know, people. I remember years ago, people would say stuff about Haitians, like, oh, Haitian booty scratch. Like they would say all stuff like that. And it's like, when you look at the history of Haiti, you know, they fought.
Yeah.
They fought for their right to be free, and they like, yo, I would rather be free than be rich.
Period.
So why are you picking on them? Let them.
That is rich though.
And that is rich, right?
Yeah,
So it's, you get what I mean? What do you value? Your freedom, or do you just want money? Because, you know, that's why they're in the predicament they're in, because they didn't lay down. It was like, nah. And because they won't lay down, nobody will help them.
Exactly.
And that's where we at with that.
Exactly.
But I can't say.
But in a sense, that's wealth. I was told that wealth is not what you have or what you can get. It's when you realize what you don't need.
Right.
That's when you're wealthy.
Right.
And
that
that phrase really changed me, because a lot of stuff I just don't care no more. I got a bunch of clothes because I had a bunch of clothes. Now I'm like, a lot of this stuff just don't matter. And like you said, Western culture makes us feel like
that stuff matters. Like,
if you don't have that stuff, you're failing at life.
You're failing at life, right?
You don't have the big house, the big car, the family.
Go to Barbados. You will not feel that way. Go to any quote unquote third world country. You know, you can shed all of that stuff and just be, you know, and that's why I like to travel.
Yeah. I love to see different cultures, and every time I leave, I come back, and I just see how much BS is here.
Oh yeah.
And it just made me want to free myself of it. Like, whatever my version of freedom is, I gotta have it before I leave, before I check up out of here.
Yeah, I feel you.
Okay, so we're gonna end it with a few rapid questions.
Okay.
Album, How I Do, in 2023, end of 2023. What's your favorite song?
Let Love.
Let Love?
Yeah.
Who are you listening to now?
Right now, I've been listening to, like, I started DJing, so I just listen to songs like, okay, when I have a DJ set, like, it's nobody in particular. I just heard for the first time October London, and you know, I really like Marvin Gaye, so.
That's the guy that sounds like him?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He does.
I heard he sounds authentically like him.
Oh yeah, he sounds authentically like, just like how Jaheim sounded like Teddy Pendergrass. Like they just have the similar voices, you know. And on top of it, he's singing like in phrases. He's using the same chords as. It's almost like how Amy Winehouse did her album, but then she wrote different songs. But he's doing it, and it's like the music is the same, and the chords are the same, and how he phrasing things is exactly the same, and on top of all of that, he sounds like him.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
So it just sounds like it's like like you're listening to a new Marvin Gaye song.
Wow.
If you don't want to listen to the old ones.
If it was any producer that you didn't work with that you would be like a dream to work with, who would it be?
I'll say Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin.
And not even for the music that we would do, just for like the lessons I'd probably would learn from it, from being in his presence.
Yeah, you probably would meet Zen in the flesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick Rubin. Cool. Wow, that was a curveball. Actually, I'm a big fan of his mixes. Like he is really his mind when it comes to frequencies and stuff is beyond the average person. Him and Dr. Dre is just crazy on mixing. Wow, Rick Rubin, that just threw me off. Singer you would want to collab with?
That's alive? Honestly, I don't really know a singer I really want to collab with, to be honest.
Really?
Not really. It's more about producers for me.
More about producers?
Yeah, because I can sing.
A genre that you've never done that you would try?
I think I want to try Afrobeat.
Afrobeat is dope.
Yeah, I like Afrobeat.
Afrobeat and what's the other one? I'm a Piano.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them both. All of y'all, listen, whatever she do, just pay attention to it and get it. Bottom line, get the album. That's the reprint of the album.
Yeah, the re-release. Re-record.
The re-record.
How I
Do. It sounds the same?
It sounds pretty close. Like, you know, nothing can be the same because it's not the same people playing it. Technology is completely different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I didn't like, But I'm singing it. I sound the same. The music pretty much is the same. It's the same. I didn't like do anything different. You know, there maybe on Ice King. Ice King, there's a part that's added to it.
Okay.
That we like added a new like ending to it. But for the most part, you're gonna hear the song the way it goes. But again, like, you know, it's a different person mixing it.
Different technology.
Yeah, different technology. So that really is what made it sound different.
Yeah.
And How I Do was done on like a bootleg Pro Tools situation. Like the producer at the time, like
He had a crack.
he had a crack, yeah. And we like lost a lot of stuff, had it record, you know. So it's just never gonna sound the same. But it is very much the same, and I sound exactly the same.
Cool. So
You know?
make
So it's
sure
the same.
y'all buy it.
Yeah, still buy it.
Buy it.
Because you can't buy the original anymore. They're out of print, and they don't exist. I think there's like 3 of them left. I've been buying them, and there's like maybe 2 left, and they're like in Japan and like $400 or something.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's no more left. So you have to buy the new re-record if you want to actually have vinyl.
How does it feel to have a project that just has lasted that long?
It feels really good. It feels really good, and it feels like I'm glad I did the right thing the first time, you know, and I'm just looking forward to being able to do the right thing again. And to keep, and so, you know, it's a little harder, it's a little difficult now, but it's also, you know, it's at my leisure, I guess, you know, a little bit more, even more, so.
Yeah. Okay, so I ain't gonna hold you up no more. You gotta go.
I gotta go.
Thank you very much. Y'all, like I said, buy her stuff, period. RES.
Yes.
And if it's like a weird guitar sound that lasts for 5 minutes, that's not her. Peace.